Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarrusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome back to the show Kathy Pobloskie from Lost Dogs of America. She's the co-founder of Lost Dogs of America, and we're going to talk today about some things that kind of, we feel are important to talk about, and we have talked about them a lot before, and that's talking about somebody finding a pet and thinking it's abandoned or neglected or dumped, and how important it is not to think that. Lost Dogs of America always likes to say, every stray dog is not a lost dog. And I may not be saying that exactly the right way, but that's their premise. And that is something that is really, really true, that every stray dog is not a lost dog. So welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thanks, Patty. That's so nice that we're talking about this again, because I think it's important, and I think it's kind of timely too in the days of COVID-19.
Yeah, it is. It seems like too many people suggest that too quickly.
Right. And what we're finding, maybe not so much here in Wisconsin, but definitely in Chicago, and I believe Susan is doing a television, Susan Taney, who's also the co-director of Lost Dogs of America. I think she's doing a television interview today on the subject, whereas some of the larger shelters in Illinois, because they're trying to, limit the number of animals that come into the shelter during this time, which is, that's not a bad thing, but how they're going about it is that they're telling people to hang on to animals that they found. Mm-hmm. Instead of, taking them into the shelter. So that can be a real problem, because at least if they end up in the shelter, there's a good chance that people know where to look for them. If they end up in somebody's home, it's really easy for the people to become emotionally attached to the dog or the cat really quickly, and then not do, their due diligence in trying to find the owner. So,
so are they instructing them? Are they instructing them on any other steps to take, or are they just like, okay, can you hold on to it? That's it, or what?
That's what we're trying to find out right now. But basically, some of what we've heard is that it's a very mixed message. So not every person answering the phone is, saying all the same things. And then again, if the dog is in somebody's home, how are they supposed to get it checked for a microchip?
Yeah.
So then you're putting that, you possibly, now that you're asking that person then to go take the animal to a vet. Well, I'm not sure the vet clinics want, people knocking on their door right now either. So it's just very confusing. And, one of the things that we've always said is, if you don't find the owner right away, the best thing to do, the best chance to find the owner is to take the dog to the correct animal control facility for the municipality. And, now they're saying, no, don't bring them here. So it's kind of like, it's a very confusing time and very hard time for people that have lost a dog.
Yeah, well, hopefully Susan can, give them some good direction. I hope that, at least tell them what to do, because I think it should be the shelter's job to, give them a little bit more information and not make them think that it's okay to really keep the dog,
Right, exactly. And there is just such a mixed message about, like, so we have stray holds, but that stray hold time is really supposed to be done in an animal control facility. It's not supposed to be done in somebody's home. That's not supposed to count.
Yeah.
So if you've got a stray hold of only 2 or 3 days, and the dog is in somebody's home and is not even ever, scanned for a microchip, that's not fair. The owner or the finder shouldn't think that they can keep the dog,
Right.
After that amount of time. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, our shelter and we kind of act that way in that we prefer that if somebody can foster in their home, that's good. But we also make it very clear they have to report to the shelter. They have to report to us. They have to report to the Humane Society. Make sure everyone in all the shelters know where the dog is, and make sure that, we ask them to put flyers up. If they can't, we get some volunteers to put flyers up. And that is, an important step during these times that people really should follow, because how would they feel if it was their dog?
Exactly. Yeah. That is for sure.
And I do think with this whole COVID thing that we're seeing. I mean, it is just one of our rules that, you know, and we have a keyword pop up. If somebody used abandoned, dumped, you know, neglected, it pops right up and we're alerted immediately because there's a lot of activity going on. And if that keyword pops up, you know, we look to see because so many people are saying, oh, it was dumped or, oh, it was abandoned. And you have no idea. You know, just the other day, we had 3 puppies found and a lady within, I think it was 4 hours, gave them all away. She would not listen.
God.
I know, and and that was Sarasota County, and Sarasota County will come. They'll still pick them up. They'll scan them. You know, they'll bring them in, and that in Sarasota County, people know that's where you look. You know, we always direct them in Sarasota County, unless it's a really small dog or a senior dog. We try to not let it go there, just because it's too scary for them. But you know, we do recommend that they go, you know, to the shelter because we know in that particular county people do go there. They do know to look there, and I just could not believe it. You know, because she jumped right on the, oh, they're neglected, oh, they're abandoned. Nobody would let 3 puppies do that. Well, you have no idea how they got out. You know.
Yep. Exactly. You know, it's and that's right. Like, people don't ever consider the possibilities that we see every day. And sure, it may sound like a long shot, but in the big scheme of things, these things happen, and they happen every day. We had a house fire the other day where the dog got away, and those people were desperate to find their dog. But, you know, there's people that would think, oh wow, who would let their dog out? Who would, and never consider that when there's a house fire, there's a house fire. You know, and probably a good thing that the dog did get away because it survived. It didn't get burned to death. You know?
Right. So, that and accidents too. We both are aware of dogs, you know, getting out of vehicles, or if an EMT comes to a house with a sick person, a dog can escape. We had that recently. There's many ways, you know, and you're right, because we do this every day. We know, but to try to, I don't know. I think too right now there's a lot of stress with people, and unfortunately, in the world we live in, nobody wants to be told anything.
Right.
You know, which makes it really difficult. But you know, I think too, and maybe I imagine where you are, kids are being schooled at home, that I think having the children at home has made it worse because, you know, they open the door, they're not watching out, the dog gets out, you know, and it seems like there's been a lot more pets loose, but I don't know how to, you know, how to get it across to people that they're not abandoned, you know.
It is so, and I find it just so easy for somebody to find a dog, and especially if it's a cute little dog or something, and for them to quickly become emotionally attached, and then to conjure up all kinds of evil thoughts in their mind about the owner, you know, and that the owner couldn't possibly care about this dog because look at, you know, how it was dumped or abandoned, instead of, you know, really thinking about the possibilities of what could have happened. But you know, that's why we tell owners right away, get those flyers out, because if a finder does not see flyers, and it's almost like they have this time frame in their mind, right? Well, if I don't see flyers within the next 24 hours for this dog, you know, that just kind of gives me the right then to make that judgment about the person, because they couldn't possibly have cared. Because if they really loved their dog, they would have got those flyers out immediately. Which, of course, you know, in a perfect world, but that's not everybody has ink in their printer at the, you know, exact moment that they need it, and not everybody has a printer, and there's all sorts of reasons why you might not get those flyers out immediately. And you know, judging a person based on whether they immediately post flyers is not, you know, it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah. No, you're right. And it is, you know, so much judgment goes on, and, you know, we have a graphic about, you know, your words can, whatever it says, I don't know, and then there's all these little sayings that people say, but they don't realize too. And as I was just talking with Julie from Lost Cats of America, that a cat could be lost a couple of days. And if it's a pretty indoor cat, it can look like heck in a couple of days. And so could a
Yes.
little dog, a little dog with long hair could look terrible,
Yes.
if we were getting some heavy rains already certain days here. And if a little dog is stuck or a kitty is out in a rain, and it's not going to look so great in a couple days,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean it's neglected. It's
Exactly.
lost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I saw a really good photo the other day of a dog, a little white dog that had just been out and just rolled in the mud. I mean, it was just the owner posted the picture, but it was just hilarious because the dog looked like just a little ragamuffin and was
Mm-hmm.
clearly loved, but it hadn't taken very long for it to look like that.
Oh, I
And,
know.
and I'm a horse owner, so I hear this all the time. I can groom my horse and have him gleaming and put him outside, and 2 seconds later he lays down and rolls in the mud. It
Yeah.
looks like
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't done anything.
Yeah, it happens all the time. We had horses
Yeah.
back in New York, and it was like, yeah, you brush them just so they can go roll on the dirt.
Yeah. I actually posted a picture of my horse a few weeks ago, and he was wearing his sheet, which had been clean, but then he rolled, and so it was dirty. And somebody made a comment like, "Oh, your horse is, his blanket is really dirty."
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
does that make me a bad person?
Yeah,
shouldn't
right.
Because he rolled in the mud.
Oh, I know. And there's too much judgment. There's way too much
Yeah.
judgment, and people
Yeah.
need to get a grip, because, what happens to one person, and the person making the judgment, that could happen to them next week.
Yes.
Exactly. And it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it's hard, and I don't know. I guess I was looking to you for words of wisdom, but I mean, it's hard. You can't. I think it's impossible when you're dealing, and it seems like maybe it's a certain personality. I think the people that say those types of things are just maybe not the nicest people to start out with. So it's just it's a hard thing to educate somebody with that type of mindset, I guess,
Right. And Facebook makes it very easy for them, don't you think, that to just to just type out a comment, a really hateful, judgmental comment, and then carry on their way,
Oh yeah.
And like I actually was going to ask your opinion on this. So you post a picture of a found dog, and the dog's nails look a bit long, and then it just goes on and on and on. Everybody commenting about the length of the dog's nails, like the person shouldn't get their dog back because the dog's nails are too long. So what do you do? I mean, we sometimes we're just at our wit's end. Like, do we delete every one of those comments, or do we come on and say, "Hey, people, really"?
We do both. We delete comments, but I think what we notice is if one particular post is getting a lot of comments, or if the post is made and we'll be like, okay, we got to watch this one, because the dog's got long nails or something, that we always know. I mean, we've been doing this a while, and we kind of expect certain things. And then, I don't even give anybody a second chance. They say one nasty thing, delete. I don't care. But then I'll have the smart Alex that will come back and say, why did you delete my comment? What's up with freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. Well, we have rules, rules. And if you can't be on, you can't be on an antique group and try to sell a modern piece of furniture. There's rules, there just are. So, but it's like that sense of entitlement thing, I think, that too many people have these days. And when it comes to somebody's pet, I just won't allow it. And then we post the graphic thing about hurtful comments, and you just have to, I don't know, it's frustrating because they're adults. You shouldn't have to deal with that. And I think until something happens to them and their pet, they don't get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find too, sometimes when somebody finds a dog, and I'm trying to think of an example, but maybe they've got